If you saw this video, you'll know that I seem to have little to no faith in the long arm actually being good. However, a vast majority of other creators have seemed to make this weapon look insane. So today I wanted to give my 2 cents on the scout rifle and decide in my own opinion whether it is good or not. With that being said, let's dive into it. Let's begin off with where this weapon can be obtained. This weapon drops from the new dungeon Spire of the Watcher, more specifically at the end of the first and third encounters. I've covered this weapon's perk pool in the video I mentioned earlier, but I only covered its PvE role. And to be upfront, I still have no interest in this thing for PvE, as scouts like Tarnished Metal, Vouchsafe, Vision of Confluence, and more easily beat this thing out. However, if you're into slower shooting scouts, then feel free to try it out as you might enjoy it a lot. Now when it comes down to the PvP role, this thing has some solid rolls that the blind eye won't catch. When looking over the rolls, I prefer to go for Rapid Hit and Adrenaline Junkie, or Hipfire Grip and Adrenaline Junkie. I know that the last one might seem a bit out of left field, but I'll explain more why I think that role might be one of the best in a moment when we talk about this weapon's PvP performance. Speaking of PvP, let's hop into that. One thing I always hear and see when this weapon is discussed is that it is a legendary version of the Dead Man's Tale scout rifle, and I can understand why people say that. The DMT and the long arm share the exact same weapon model, have similar stats, and function relatively the same, so the comparisons make sense in that department. However, the performance is what matters the most to me, and if we are comparing this weapon to the DMT, then my own thoughts on it is that the long arm is the DMT without the flavor added to it. One thing that makes DMT so good and reliable is its effectiveness in all ranges. DMT performs exceptionally in medium to long ranges, and in short range it also does well thanks to the catalyst, which increases the weapon's rate of fire and accuracy when hip firing. All those things mixed together makes DMT a force to be reckoned with, but the long arm actually lacks the reliability in all ranges. While long arm does perform great in medium to long range duels, this weapon is laughably bad in close range engagements, and since it lacks the rate of fire increase that DMT gets when hip firing, you'll get easily outgunned by any decent player if you try to take a close range engagement, so you'll definitely want to pair this weapon with another close range weapon like a shotgun, sidearm, or SMG. Now when it comes down to long range, this weapon felt fantastic to use. The bullets from this weapon felt like they were hitting the target effortlessly, and thanks to the slim design of the weapon, you still get to overlook a wide area when ADSing, making duels easy. Not to mention that Adrenaline Junkie on this weapon can let you 2-tap Guardians if you get 4 or 5 stacks, which isn't too bad if you get a grenade kill. Now while all of that does sound appealing, I still do not believe that all of that is enough to make this on par or even better than the DMT or any other meta weapon at this moment. I think DMT still brings a lot more to the table than long arm does, and other meta weapons like No Time to Explain, Peace of Mind, and more are just better than long arm. Long arm not having access to a rate of fire increasing perk like Desperado makes it fall apart and makes it worse than everything else. So in the end, is long arm worth it? Well, as the title of the video suggests, it's okay, but it lacks the essential things needed to make it viable. On the surface, it has a lot of potential, but it doesn't have what it needs to succeed. When it came down to examining this weapon, it felt like as if for every pro this weapon offered, 1 or 2 cons would be pushed forward as well, and it became too problematic in the end. Now with that being said, I do think it's a solid weapon for PvP, and if for some reason you need a slow firing, hard hitting legendary scout rifle, I'd recommend the long arm to you. However, I wouldn't touch PvE with the long arm equipped even with a 10-foot stick, but that's due to my personal preference. With that being said, that wraps up this video. If you enjoyed it, a like rating would be greatly appreciated, and consider subscribing to the channel as I'm going to be uploading and streaming a lot right here on YouTube throughout 2023, and I'd love for you all to be a part of that process. Also be sure to check the links in the description below to follow me on other platforms so you know when I drop new videos and when I go live. With that being said, I'm SniperKH, and as always, good luck with gaming.